Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday webinar with myself, Katie from Olal Schools, and we have Kerry from OptimumSA. So this is where we're going to be discussing how to handle and manage home education with a timetable and a schedule. Kerry, to you.
Yes, hello everybody. So I'm going to do the whole share screen thing now. So because I've made up a nice little four-page document thingamabob.
Let's have a look.
So it's busy. Is it sharing yet? I don't know.
Yes.
Katie, you see it?
Okay. I can see it on my side.
Okay, so as we've mentioned before, time and again, it's always best that everybody knows what's got to be done when. And the best way to do that is with a timetable and a work schedule, okay? So we're all thinking, oh, golly, you know, where do we start? And the timetable is generally exactly the same for when we were at school. If you've managed to download the CAPS documents, you'll see that the good old Department of Education was kind enough to give, you know, the amount of hours that needs to be for each subject and a suggested timetable we've created with our product. But remember, everything that we say today is merely just guidelines. Nothing is written in stone. So you got to work out a schedule and a timetable that best suits you and your family. All right. So like my son, he's just like his mother, a demon in the morning. Our brains only wake up at 10. So, you know, so his school only starts at 9 o'clock, whereas some parents prefer to get an early start and get started at 8. So this is merely on today's example, this page that I'm showing you, it's just an example. It's just a guideline. All right. So we'll go through the first lot of setting a timetable, okay? Things to take into consideration is the time to start the day. So like I said just now, some parents prefer to, you know, to get started bright and early when the, you know, the crows are, the chickens or roosters going cock-a-doodle-doo, whatever. And then some, not a morning person, so start a bit later. It's okay, you know. Take into consideration, especially depending on the grade, for, you know, a tea time break. If you see that your child can only, you know, cope for an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, then fit in a break into the timetable. So they need to get up, walk around, move their, you know, exercise, stretch, walk around the garden. Mommy needs a cup of tea, or dad, or whoever's doing the guardian, whatever, whoever's doing the teaching. That is why there's tea breaks at schools. It's the same that will apply, it should apply at home as well. So you can set 2 timetables. There's an academic timetable for when the child needs to know, okay, when they need to do English, when they need to cover all the subjects and for whatever amount of time. And then you can do a timetable for the whole family. So, you know, if I'm working from home on a Wednesday, then my son knows, don't come near mommy at 2:30 because it's webinar Wednesday, you see. So, you know, it's put all those into the family timetable. So for example, I just did a Monday to Friday one, because Saturdays and Sundays are generally whatever happens. So 6 o'clock, many families wake up. Then my son, he knows as soon as he opens his peepers, he needs to make his bed and get dressed for the day. Then obviously important meal for the day. Moms like tea or coffee. Children tend to have breakfast for most, not so much teenagers, I think. And then on this one, this whole family timetable is school starts at 8. So you've got 8 until 10 o'clock. Then at 10 o'clock, there's a 15-minute break. So then from 10:15 till 1 o'clock, the learner's doing more academics. Okay, I didn't want to really put there school time or education. So I just put there the word academics, as you can see over here. There's academics, then lunch break, because by then their brains are generally cooked. So you have a lunch break. And then some learners, especially the senior grades, they cover far more subjects. So they can't just concentrate on one subject a day, because there isn't, gosh, imagine having a 9-week day, 9-week time, you know, a 9-day week would drive me nuts. So that you've got to break up the work accordingly. So then you've got academics till 3 again, and then we all know how important exercise is. So I don't know, ride a bicycle, go walk around the block if it's safe to do so, please, if it's safe. Then, I don't know, suggested TV time, then a learner can do their revision or whatever they didn't finish in the time that was allocated for academics. And then, I don't know, my son has chores and bath time, then it's dinner time and bed. So this is just a very simple one. You can go and do a very detailed one if you're a mom that needs everything, you know, exactly to time and whatever, then you set the timetable according to your family's needs. All right. As you can see here, for example, I've put their mom meeting at 2:30. So then the family knows, don't go to that designated area for whatever the meeting is, or I don't know if boss is coming to the house, or I don't know, whatever the situation is, put it in the calendar, especially if it's the same time every week thing, then it can go into the timetable. All right. And here I've got listed extracurricular activity, going for walk, bicycle riding, swimming lessons, etc. Whatever extracurricular activities there are, put it on the timetable, because you know, everybody knows where they are and what to do. Right, so that is just the family timetable if you want to do something like that. It is a good idea because then everybody's on the same page, all right? The second one is very important, which is the academic timetable. Now, if you see here, if I can highlight it, let's see if I can double click and whatever. So this is for grades 1, 2, and 3 over here. Now, this is the amount of suggested hours or the time allocation per week that the Department of Education wants for learners to complete a subject in a week for. So, for example, for home language, a grade 1 and 2 needs to cover it for about 7 to 8 hours a week. All right. So for my son personally, what works for him, my husband literally teaches my son English on a Monday and a Tuesday, and then he teaches maths on a Wednesday and a Thursday. And then if you can see here by the first additional language, it's very, very little hours. It's literally 2 or 3 hours. You see there for grade 1 and 2, and grade 3 is 3 to 4 hours. Mathematics is 7 hours, and life skills is 6 to 7 hours. But this life skills, a lot of it is exercise and playing games and learning dances and all sorts of other funny things. So you can leave that for a Friday for fun, you know,
So basically like turn a Friday into a fun day for life skills.
They do arts and crafts and it's exercising. And by the time Friday comes, the child isn't interested in school because they've worked so hard, frightfully hard. It's hard work being a child from Monday to Thursday, you see. So it's very difficult to get content into a learner's brain on a Friday because it's literally like there's a switch that goes weekend mode, woohoo! So they get very easily distracted on a Friday, we found anyway. But if you see the timetable above, this timetable starts at 9 and you've got all your allocated subjects for the amount of hours according to what it shows in that table at the bottom. And then the same applies for grade 4 to 6. You see there, it's got the home language every single day. It's a little bit longer on a Tuesday because of the extra hours, because you see their home language is 6 hours and first additional language over here. If I can highlight, there's 5 over there. Maths is 6 hours, life skills is 4 hours. So you see how much it changes compared to grade 1, 2, and 3. They really spend a lot of time on the home language so that the learner has a very good foundation to move to progress for grade 4, 5, and 6. For grade 7 to 9, it is very, you know, I mean, if you see there, my life orientation literally went from 4 hours or 6 hours in grade 1, 2, and 3, all the way to just 2 hours for grade 7, 8, and 9. It's, you know, the content is so little, and the amount of work to be done isn't that much, that it's not a lot either. So they've really made it very little time allocated for life orientation. Even technology is 2 hours. Economic management and sciences, otherwise known as EMS, 2 hours. Creative arts, 2 hours. Now, you can't tell me that a learner can't do that in one day and then they're done for the week with creative arts. It's really no point to, you know, make them do it a little bit every single day. It's impossible to fit 9 subjects in a day. They won't know what they're going to do with themselves. So use this hour allocation that the Department of Education has requested to set up the timetable like we have done over here. So for life orientation, it's 2 hours. So on a Wednesday, if you look at the above in the table above, life orientation is from 1:30 to 2:30, and on a Friday from 1:30 to 2:30. You see, so use the hours to help you set up the timetable. All right. Now moving on to the very complicated one, which is the work schedule. Now, many parents is like, oh no, I don't know what to do. How do I break up the work? It's so much subjects, or, you know, it's a lot of pages, Kerry. But if you go into it, you will see that it really actually isn't a lot of work. If you go through the textbooks, you'll see it ranges from 40 pages to 70 pages for a whole term. Now, for OptimumSA, our term 2 consists of 12 weeks, which is exactly the same as what Department of Education has set up their calendar on, which is a lot of the books that you purchase, the CAPS books, they are set up on a 10-week basis. Okay, so it says here 3 different ways to split the content. Books are set on a 10-week basis. The Department of Education calendar differs from term to term, but ranges from 10 weeks to 12 weeks. So the books are all set up on 10 weeks, okay? So you can do one of 2 things. Some parents like to concentrate on just one subject for a solid 2 weeks, and then they move on to the next subject for another 2 weeks, especially for the littlies, the grade 1, 2, and 3. I've already said how my husband, you know, sees to my son's work, where he does English for Monday and Tuesday, and then he does the math on a Wednesday and Thursday, and then on a Friday he does Afrikaans and life skills.
So I just got a question with that, like explaining with your son, English for like Monday and Tuesday, do they concentrate on English throughout the whole day, Monday and Tuesday, or do they have a set time? So I'm just a bit confused.
No, they would literally do for those 3 to 4 hours, literally just English, from reading to writing. It is just concentrating on English for those 2 days. And then so he would literally do his whole week's worth of English in those 2 days. So instead of just doing 2 hours every day for 4 days, he would do it for 6 hours on a Monday and a Tuesday, 3 hours on a Monday, 3 hours on a Tuesday. So he's literally just in the English zone. He doesn't get distracted now with adding 1, 2, 3 and doing maths. So my husband tried it with my son, and it was literally like nothing was sinking in, because the very next day I'll be like, huh, I don't know what you're talking about, Daddy. You know, so we just found after, you know, the practice run with term 1 last year, my husband had experimented with one subject per day, and my son actually remembered it better because he could go over different scenarios, explain things in different ways. Whatever is explained, you know, the content, then apply it into the activities as well. So for my son, it just better suited him. If you've got a very academically strong child, then they might get bored with doing the same subject for 3 to 4 hours. So then, you know, you can mix it up and have 2 subjects, English and for the first 2 hours, and then maths for the next 2 hours. As long as at the end of the day, all the subjects are covered and all the content is complete. That's the main thing. So how you do it is your business at the end of the day. Okay, so so it is really up to you if you want to set it up per week, where you can do for grade 4 to 6. There's 10 weeks a term. So week 1, you just concentrate on English. Week 2, the home language. Week 2, the first additional language, and so on throughout the term. And then you have, you know, there's only 6 subjects. Well, 7, because as you can see here, there's geography in week 6, and in week 7, you've got history. So if you want to, then if there's any subject where you ran out of time that week, you can then wrap it up in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the term. So just remember, in term 2 and in term 4, there are tests and exams that need to be completed. So you remember to allocate a week for revision and a week for actually writing the papers. Okay, grade 7 to 9, like I've mentioned before, it's a lot of subjects. So to try and do 1 subject per week, you are going to run out of weeks. It doesn't work as easily that way, but as we saw on the hour allocated table, you can literally complete, you know, the term's work for life orientation over 2 or 3 days if you really wanted to, because it's very little, it's not content heavy compared to like grade 9 mathematics, for example. So it's the same as EMS and technology. Those subjects aren't very content heavy, but like technology, they have that project that you do over 2 or 3 weeks. So it's the mini PAT. So you've got to incorporate the time for that. You can't, it's impossible. I don't think it's a good idea personally and experience to have a grade 7 to 9 learner concentrate on a subject a week, especially if there's a subject that they're going to battle with and that goes into the following week, then that next subject's week has been cut short, you see. So I don't suggest this method, this method for grade 7 to 9 at all. Otherwise, the second option is, if you look inside your textbook, you'll see that they cover either chapters, units, or themes or modules. So natural science, for example, covers 3 modules a term. So you can have your child do 1 module a week. So, or you can have them do 1 chapter a week. And then some chapters are 10 pages, some chapters are 15 pages. You will learn how much work the learner can, you know, get in. It's all part of trial and error. All right. What I generally find is the safest route is the option number 3, which is this one over here, where you take the amount of pages that subject has. For example, English generally has about 70 pages for the term to go through. So the formula you basically do is you take the amount of pages that needed to be completed for the term, and you divide it by the number of weeks that you want the learner to do the content in. So while we're in term 2, for example, there's 70 pages for English, I'm guessing, whatever, and you want them to finish that in 7 weeks. That literally means that only have to work through 10 pages a week. And a learner should be able to do about 5, maybe 6 or 7 pages in a lesson, because it's not all just reading of content. There's pictures and diagrams, there's the revision page, there's the introduction to a chapter, which is one jolly big picture, and then just what they're going to cover. So that 70 pages isn't necessarily all just content that they have to cover. So 10 pages in a week is definitely doable, especially if the learner is doing it over 2 to 3 hours in a week on a subject. I think for like life orientation for grade 7 to 9, the pages are something terrible, like only 24 or 30 pages. That is not a lot of content to cover for that subject. It really isn't. If you have to page through the book, you'll see they like pictures. So they help explain things with diagrams and to show different emotions. They've got photos of an angry child and a sad child and a happy child. So that is not it's not just full on writing like you're reading a 1,000-page novel. So it really is doable. So if a learner finishes that subject a lot quicker, that means they've got then more time to concentrate on the subjects that they battle with. Does it make sense, Katie? I'm rambling away.
No, I'm with you.
Okay. All right. So the preferred method is take the amount of pages divided by the amount of weeks, and that is how many pages that child has that week. So if Katie, if you allocated Susie Wong to do pages 1 to 7 in class with you at the center, and the learner only did page 1 to 5, guess what? Page 6 and 7 is done for homework or in the revision where we have put it in the timetable for the evening. So over there, see, for the revision. If Susie Wong was a good girl and she finished all her notes and her activities of page 1 to 7, doesn't mean that she doesn't have homework. She must then do revision of what she covered in class that day.
100%, yeah.
Okay, does it make sense? That's why, but it's homeschooling. They shouldn't have homework. Why?
They need revision.
Yeah, they're covering the same content as if they were in a classroom environment. And if the classroom environment, they get homework, the home education learners should get homework. And if they don't have homework, do revision. Because remember, repetition, 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 like we've spoken before. Okay, I think we're summing it up. Last one, this is just an example of what a weekly schedule template is. As you can see, this is for a 10-week term. So, and it's tests, so it's most likely for term 1, but you've got week 1 over here. You would put the pages 1 to 10 and week 2, 11 to 20, and so on and so on and so on by pages of the week. And the date, you generally put the date of the Monday of that week. So for example, this week would have been, Monday's date was the 18th, if this week was week 1. So this is just a basic, when the learner has finished this weekly schedule, then you can just tick it off that the learner completed those pages for the week. You see, so but everything here is just a guideline. You can use it if you want to, cheers, by all means. Otherwise, be creative. Home education is about being creative and thinking out the box.
And it also gives you a lot of flexibility in your time as well.
Yeah.
I know for now example, with the load shedding and some disasters that are going on, especially with all our tutoring center, we able to make it flexible for our parents for when their child is available and our tutor is available, they get to actually meet.
Yes.
With home education, your timetable can be flexible to suit what is going on in your home and around you.
Yes, I like to say when life happens. So, you know, unexpected events happen, like what's been happening. And it's nice where our learners aren't restricted to a school year, and that, you know, okay, yes, this unfortunate event, a lot of the schools were closed in KZN the whole of last week because of safety for their children and the teachers. It was just better for the learners to be at home. Now, unfortunately, in a school environment, that week has been lost. But with home education, if the children are stuck at home, they've got all their books anyway. So there's no reason for them to not continue unless, you know, it's underwater, which we hope a lot isn't. But you just push the term forward. You know, they've got 3 weeks holiday for term 2, which they get bored out of their bracket anyway. Take out a week of holiday to get the term 2 done if you want to, or work through the term holidays and have a jolly long holiday at the end of term 3. There is that flexibility. Nothing is written in stone. As long as the work eventually gets done, preferably not by June next year. But it's okay if it does, because we're not stuck on a school year. It just gets complicated from grade 9. So that's a topic for a different day. Okay.
Thank you so much for touching up on how to manage home education and a timetable and schedule for us, Kerry. This will help a lot of our parents understand what a timetable is and what a schedule is, so that they also get an understanding how it works, may it be with an online tutoring center or for themselves at home. It gives them a breakdown of why their child doesn't want to be 10 minutes late to meet their tutor, or mom, come, you want to go shopping, but I've got work to do. Then they will get the idea of, yeah. So thank you so much for sharing this information with us.
No, it's a pleasure. I hope it does help and make a little bit more sense, especially now that they know what we're talking about. So, but like I said, in the beginning of this is all just guidelines. This can just give you an indication of what it can look like. But otherwise, set up a timetable that suits you and your family. As long as the work gets done at the end of the day, that's the main thing. Okay, that's nothing is saying you have to follow this to the T. All right, please. is that what you call the disclaimer? Hey.
Sorry. Okay. Well, yes. Thank you for joining us on a Wednesday webinar. Don't forget to like and share, and we'll see you same time, same place next week, Wednesday, and we'll chat then. Any questions, leave a comment below, and myself or Kerry or one of our work colleagues will get back to you as soon as possible. Yes. So bye-bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes, thank you so much, Katie.
Chat to you throughout the week.
Yes. Take care, everybody, and be safe. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.